Hello, friends. Welcome back to the session 2 on writing technical papers. In the previous session, we have seen the structure of the paper and what to publish and where to publish. This session will focus on the literature survey part or a literature review part. So, under that, first we will start from where to find papers and what is the significance of literature review. There are different types of literature review. We will decide upon what kind of review is required at what point of time. Then I will introduce you to the some reference management tool. Especially if you are doing if you are a research scholar, if you are working towards your research, you will be referring to hundreds of papers and it becomes extremely difficult to remember where you have pulled this data from. What was the reference to say this? So in that case, my reference management tools will be of very quite handy. So I'll introduce you to a few of the reference management tools like Citavi, Zotero, and Mendeley. So that completes your session 2. Okay, let's proceed with the session 2 now. Where to search papers? A common question is, should it be discussed now? Or I can just Google it. Or I can use ChatGPT to do that. Is that so simple? You can please try out Googling it. You may not get all the relevant results. And you may not get the papers, technical papers related to it when you Google it. And you can try out with ChatGPT as well. My experience I will tell with ChatGPT, when I tried out with the ChatGPT in generating the references to read the papers, quite number of references were generated from ChatGPT, but surprisingly, none of the papers were really existing. It was such a good combination of some random names of authors and random title of the papers. But when I tried to find such papers, the papers weren't existing. So this is what my experience is of using ChatGPT to find the papers. You may find one or two papers, but all might not be reliable. So hence, so there should be some method in order to do that. Let's try understanding what is a method, right? So we will start with something called as database search, right? So there are different databases. Database, I refer to something called as the repository where I have all these collection of papers related to different topics, right? So one of the here I've listed with some of the database which I found it very useful and you may also find it very useful. Let's discuss one by one. The top on the list I would prefer with the IEEE xplore. Let me show you to that, make you to go to that website. So in the Google, I will type IEEE Digital Library or IEEE Explore. You will get the IEEE Explore, and this is a database which will give you access to so many papers. In this case, you can use just a normal search. Say, suppose I want to find something with respect to multimodal learning. This is one of the topic, multimodal machine learning. So you can just press on the search and you will get it like a Google. But it doesn't give you more information about the other general articles, but the papers which are published in IEEE. Right. One more thing I want you to focus is there is something called as advanced search option here. Just click on that, and in the advanced search, you will have space to enter the keywords and select fields. So the search team, if I say search term, if I say fusion, or I'll say multimodal, right? I want to search on something called as multimodal fusion. Okay. Now you have a drop down here which will tell you like where do I search this multimodal? Are you expecting this to be in the title of it? Are you expecting it to be in the abstract part? Are you expecting this to be in the full text? Right. So it will ask you where do you want to find it out? This is one very useful search method which I found it very useful. And say suppose I want to find out only with related to multimodal fusion, right? So I will say multimodal as a search term, and you can see this here, and or not. These are the logical things, right? So and means multimodal. Say suppose I will say fusion, right? So it becomes like multimodal fusion. On the other hand, I will select or. I will say machine learning. I can add one more machine learning. I will say or I will say this as and. That means multimodal fusion machine learning. These are the keywords that I want to give, right? Or I will say deep learning. So now the papers related to multimodal machine learning or deep learning, and it will have a fusion term, right? So this is how I can enter. And next is I can give a publication year as well, right? Say suppose I know that deep learning started around 2012, so I need not go till 1884. Say I want to do survey where last 2 decades में क्या हुआ था. So I will find out only during that period, right? So you can select the period, specify the year range, and do the search. When you use this and click on search, it will be a custom search where based on whatever is the data that you have given, it will show you all these details. In the previous video, I had shown you that there are different publication outlets like journals, conferences, books, courses, early access articles, magazines. This early access articles I had called as the archival articles, right? All these things I have shown you in the previous video. In case if you have missed out the first video, please go and watch. I have described about the various publication outlets. Now, I have searched now. Say suppose I want to look into only journal papers. Then you can apply these filters just by clicking on it. Say suppose you have so many papers coming out here. Now I do not want papers from books or conferences. The numbers within this bracket tells you that so many publications are belonging to this category. That means multimodal, fusion, machine learning or deep learning topic. So I have 1 lakh, sorry, 1 lakh 5,585 publications which belong to the conference category, then 36,697 to the journal category, and early access I have 3,616, and books I have 656. Say suppose I will decide now I want to go only with the journal publications. Okay, as I told you, like what is the advantage of journals in the previous video. I'll just click on this and say apply this filter. So once you do that, so it will tell you like the filters applied are from this year 1978 to 2024 and journals. Say suppose I want to include conferences as well. Click on this, again press apply. So when you observe here, so you have something called as institutional login. Say suppose you are a research scholar who is a student in some university or some industry, you are working in an industry, right? You can ask for institutional login and you will be able to download so many papers. Say suppose I have not logged in into any institution, right? So I will see this symbol as locked symbol. That means full text I will not be able to access from the home. But when I go to my university or when I go to my industry, I'll be able to have this symbol as I'll show you that symbol as well. Currently, all are locked. I will be able to see the abstract part, but I'll not be able to see the um, I'll not be able to see the entire paper. But look at here, look here. This is open access. That means I can download this data. I mean, download this paper. Just click on that. You click on a PDF, right? But when it is locked, I will not be able to download. You will not have that option of, do you have this option of PDF? Okay, it will ask you like this: access through institution or sign in with your username and password. So you may have to purchase that. So you can, better thing is you go to your university. Once you log in from your internet provided by your university, automatically this institutional sign in will come into picture and you need not worry about it. This is about IEEE Explorer. The next one on the list is ACM Digital Library. We'll go with this, the ACM Digital Library. Let me go to that. I will type ACM Digital Library. This I find it very, very useful, right? When I click on advanced search, here also you have two options, right? So when I click on advanced search, okay. So it will ask you, where should I search it from? How I showed you for IEEE Explorer, here also you can check where do you want to search. Say suppose I know like there is a particular author who is publishing, who is working in this area and is publishing a quite good amount of research is being carried out at that university. Right. I can search by author as well. Right. Say suppose I showed you about IEEE Digital Library. So you know that there is a person by name somewhere. I will take my name only. I will go to advanced search. I'll just type Kaushik. It's going to generate results. Say suppose I will say like I want to check out only early access articles. Right. So it will show me only early access articles. I will say I'll change out this filter. I will not say this early access. I will say journals. It will show me one journal. Right. So like this based, sorry, I'll have to say apply. Okay. This is one of the publication which is there on the transaction. This paper itself I had shown you in the first video, if you remember. Say suppose I'll say early access and I'll say apply. I have another paper. In fact, I got this notification today itself. Right. So this is another paper which is in early access category. This is already published. This is early access. I'll be able to access the paper. Right. This is how I use IEEE Explorer only based on the author name. Right. Then it will ask you again. So where should I search? Say example, I'll say learning analytics. Right. So where is it published? Right. So do you want to know like who is a publisher, whether it is published by Springer or Tyler and Francis, like whichever is the publisher, you can even mention that. Right. Same similar to that of IEEE Explorer, you have a year selection, date selection, everything. Right. So this is another database which is quite helpful. So going back, again, I have similar database searches I have as Web of Science, Science Direct, EI Compendex, Google Scholar, right? These are the various databases which I can exclusively use in order to search for a papers. This is one way of searching a papers. So though I have shown you for IEEE Explorer and ACM Digital Library, please, I expect you to try out with Web of Science, Science Direct, EI Compendex, and Google Scholar. Right. I want you to try out with these three, four, five. Google Scholar, let me show you. Google Scholar. I will just type scholar.google.com, and then I will say suppose I want to type something, so I can search by name as well. I can search by any name, right? So I can go and search directly that person, right? Say here you can create your own page, Google Scholar page, okay, and you can build your own profile as well. Say, and you can mention your area of interest or area of research here, right? So when you click on this, say suppose multimodal learning analytics, it also shows whoever is the researcher working in the same area, it shows you all the names. This is how you can build a network of peers to get connected with the people who are working in the same area, right? So if I say deep learning, there are so many people who are working in this area of deep learning. Okay. So, and how do you search paper here? So just scholar dot instead of author name, you can type some name, some learning analytics, learning analytics in higher education. If you type, okay, you can see here the various things, right? One is it shows you sciencedirect.com. This is one of the database I had shown you in the presentation, right? So like this, it will tell you like where is the data available, right? So also one important thing is you can click on this site here and copy this. When you're downloading this paper, this also becomes your citation information, which is very, very important. I will cover this in a separate video, but I just wanted you to look at the information that it gives. Say you can click a star here, it will save to the profile, right? And you can give some name to it and create it, right? It will finally show you all the um, star marked papers. So like this, you can use Google Scholar as well to search from the author point of view as well as from the technical topic point of view. Right. Similarly, I want you to try out with Web of Science, then Science Direct, EI Compendex. Right. This is one way of doing it. What could be the other way is, say suppose you are working in a particular area and you are aware of some journals or conferences which are regularly hosted in the area. Right. Say, as a fresher, you might not be knowing this. So, what are the top journals um, in a particular area? For that, you can use ChatGPT, which will help you to identify a right journal for you. So, which are the top journals available in that? So, I did mention about the indices, right? Which is Web of Science indexed, Scopus indexed, right? There also you will have a quartiles. Quartile is Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 quartiles will be there. So, based on that, you can decide which is the topmost journal. You can directly go to that website of that particular journal, right? And then start searching. Say example I have given as IEEE TOE, Transactions on Education, the paper which I showed you of my paper. Then IEEE PAMI, right? Pattern recognition, this one. So I will directly go to that website. I will say IEEE Transactions on Education, IEEE Transactions on Education. So this is what I want to search in this. Again, it goes to the IEEE database. So you can just click on this journal. Okay, say suppose you want to target a particular journal where you are aspiring to get your papers published, right? So I would strongly recommend go and read some papers which are already accepted in a journal. You will get to know the kind of expectations that the journal has. This is what I found it very useful. So whenever I search papers, I go to that particular journal which I have targeted. I will go there and start searching for the papers so that once I read the paper, I get to know like flow as well as what is the expectation the journal expects. What is the expectation of the journal, right? To what depth should I go? All this information you can make use by just directly, instead of going for a database search, you can go to the journals and search the search the required information. So PAMI is another. So there are n number of journals in each and every area. There are no areas where there is no journal or a transaction or a conference. It's the new area. Every new area also has it, right? So please try with the journal search as well as the database search, right? I hope you have learned now. So how to do the searching part. Right. So I have proposed activity for you. Right. What is that you have to do is, especially if you're working in a team, each one of you can go to one of the database, and whatever is your project that you're working on with, right, you can start typing those keywords. Right. You can use this and combination or combination, all those things. Right. And try out finding a paper. What is the expectation of this is at least search for three papers. One paper should be an older paper which eventually discusses about the taxonomy terminologies that are used in that, right? So second one is try finding a paper that discusses the latest paper, right, which tells about some new algorithm, okay, or new framework that come into picture, right? So let then one more thing you want to you I need you to observe is look at the keywords. Say when you are searching in a database or a journal, initially as a beginner, you might not know what is that right keyword to be used also. So when you start reading this papers, right? So you will get to know more and more keywords, right? So when you are reading a paper, please look at the keywords what the other authors who have already published used it. So this will help you to refine your search such that you will get more relevant papers. Okay. And one more important thing is, so for every paper that you download, it will have a references section, as I shown you in the previous video. Each reference section, at least like 20 to 25 references, or it may exceed. There is no upper limit or a lower limit, right? A good paper at least will have at least 25 references in it, right? This is what I have seen, right? So you go to reference sections and you will find lot many papers which the authors have already referred. So you can use that paper and you can use that title and the author's names to search in a Google Scholar or any databases to find those papers. Right. Please complete this activity. So by the end of this activity, you should have at least three papers by each of you, such that you should be able to discuss and what are the different terminologies, what are the different keywords, what is the current algorithm that they are using it. Okay. So that completes your activity and this video. See you in the next video. Thank you.